An average guy named George Costello, got long hair like he into rock and metal. Rap movie out, push the pedal to the metal, spin around and destroy you like the Tasmanian devil. Oh, say what you don't know, what's about to unfold. Brace yourself, you are now watching the George Costello Show.
Hey guys, I'm trying something a little bit different today. In honor of the last installment of the Harry Potter films Deathly Hallows Part 2 being released this week, I decided to rewatch the entire series of films to refresh my memory, and so now I decided to share my thoughts of the entire series. I read about the first 5 or 6 books when I was really young, but I don't really remember too much about them, so I'm not gonna complain about what was left out. Okay, the first film up is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or Sorcerer's Stone as it's called in America for some reason. And yeah, this is the first Harry Potter film, and it's pretty much just an introduction to the series. It follows Harry Potter, of course, and Ron and Hermione in the first year of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and they meet some people they can trust, some people they can't, and eventually go on a quest to find the Philosopher's Stone. I first saw this film when I was about 9 years old, and it just blew my mind. I think I even had like a Game Boy Advance game of it, a PC game of it. I think I even had like pajamas and bed sheets based on it, even a board game. I was pretty obsessed with this film. But rewatching it today, it saddens me to say that it just doesn't hold up. The 3 main child actors just aren't charismatic enough to hold the film together. I know they're only like 10 or 11 years old and just child actors, but they just aren't good. The CG computer-generated effects are also pretty dated. The 3-headed dog Fluffy and the troll in the toilet just looks terrible. And even the green screen effects whenever they're on a broomstick or playing Quidditch just looks so fake. I remember being impressed by the effects in like 2001, but today's standards they do not hold up. It also kind of confused me how 3 amateur children on their first year of school are able to somehow stumble through traps and challenges to get to the Philosopher's Stone. There are also a lot of cheesy lines and jokes that just fall flat that were probably funny when I was younger, but now they're just bad. But still, the score is very good. And so is the supporting cast of Hagrid, Snape, and Richard Harris as Dumbledore. The film does still have a bit of nostalgia to me because of how obsessed I was when I was younger, but it just doesn't really hold up to me, unfortunately. There's just too much setup and not enough payoff. It feels far too childish, and it's probably the worst in the series in my opinion. Next up came Chamber of Secrets. This film is about a mysterious monster that is petrifying students in Hogwarts, and follows the trio of, once again, Harry, Ron, and Hermione investigating to see what's going on and who opened the Chamber of Secrets. This film is definitely a step up from the first one, but there are still some dated elements. The film, to be honest, did kind of drag in places and get a little boring at times, and does still have some of the same corny dialogue and wooden acting, although the child actors are a little bit better. Kenneth Branagh as Gilderoy Lockhart is definitely a highlight in this film. He's really having fun with the role, and I respect that. But on the other hand, Moaning Myrtle kind of ruined this film to me because she's probably the most annoying character in the whole series. I guess that's how she is in the books, but her voice just got on my nerves so much. Poor Moaning Myrtle always... Just shut up! The big action climax at the end, I have to say, was pretty exciting though. The set design in the cave looked great, and the CG on that giant snake then was even impressive. Overall, yeah, this film does still have some of the same dated elements, and does drag a little bit, but I did somewhat enjoy it. The third film is Prisoner of Azkaban. The plot of this film follows a convicted murderer who escaped from Azkaban prison, and is rumoured to be coming to kill Harry Potter. I love this film so much. It is much darker in tone and more mature than the other 2 films, probably because of the change in director. It also has generally surprising twists and turns that honestly took me by surprise the first time. The flying sequences with Buckbeak are breathtaking. The ending battle against the Dementors was badass. Expecto Patronum! Badass. Lupin is a really likable and fun character, and is probably my favourite defense against the dark arts teacher in the series. Sirius Black also makes an appearance for the first time, and he's played by Gary Oldman, one of my favourite actors. Sirius Black is one of the best characters in the series, even though he's not in it that much. I don't know, he has a cool John Lennon kind of thing going on. Michael Gambon replaces Richard Harris as Dumbledore, as Richard Harris sadly passed away after the filming of Chamber of Secrets. Although, to be honest, I like Michael Gambon's performance a lot more. I just love almost everything about this film, even the time travel elements. It's by far my favourite Harry Potter film in this series and one of my favourite fantasy films of all time. Next up is Goblet of Fire. This film follows Harry Potter getting entered against his will into the Triwizard Tournament. I read that this film is getting a lot of hate and somewhat negative reviews. Maybe it's because of elements getting left out of the book, which again I don't remember the book. But I don't know, I really enjoyed the film. It's probably the funniest of the series, but also has some dark and badass scenes. The opening Quidditch World Cup scene with Ireland versus Bulgaria, the big dancing leprechaun thing, Harry fighting against a dragon on his broomstick, and the badass ending battle in the graveyard with Voldemort. Although I kinda wish that scene went on a little longer. Brendan Gleeson as Mad-Eye Moody is having a blast. Trigger from Only Fools and Horses is in this movie, which was kind of weird. It's also kind of weird seeing Robert Pattinson as a likable and interesting character for once, unlike that sparkle in the sunlight wannabe vampire pussy asshole Edward Collins. Sorry, I'll save my Twilight hate if I ever do a review of Breaking Dawn. David Tennant is also in it, but he's really overacting. It also kind of puzzled me what the spectators of the tournament were looking at the whole time. I mean, it's a tournament that involves challenges that are underwater, a maze challenge, and fights in the sky with a dragon. What were they looking at the whole time? They wouldn't be able to see anything. Also, a lot of the characters kind of have long, shaggy hair for some reason, but hey, I'm not complaining. Overall, this film is actually one of my favorites. It's funny and it has some great special effects and action sequences. On to the fifth film, Order of the Phoenix. The plot of this film involves Harry Potter building up a team of Dumbledore's army to fight Lord Voldemort, despite the corrupt members in the Ministry of Magic attempting to convince everybody that Voldemort isn't returning, while a new corrupt Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher tries to overthrow Hogwarts. I like this film a lot as well. Once again, it's becoming darker tonally and I enjoy that. It even seems like the student characters starting to go through puberty. Harry even kisses a hot Asian girl called Cho Chang, which I strongly approve. Man, she's hot. I guess he has an Asian fetish too, I don't know. Dumbledore's badass battle against Voldemort and the big action climax are so thrilling and exciting to watch. Helena Bonham Carter makes her first appearance as Bellatrix, and she's awesome in this role, although I wish she could have been in it a bit more. The actress playing Umbridge does a good performance as well, but she's just playing an annoying and unlikable character to begin with, and I was definitely rooting against her from the start, which I guess was the point. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this film. It's pretty entertaining and has a badass action climax. The sixth film is Half-Blood Prince. This movie follows an attempt to kill Albus Dumbledore, as well as uncovering some of Voldemort's past. To be honest, this isn't one of my favourites. I thought it was pretty boring, to be honest, the first time I watched it. Although rewatching it, I did like it slightly more. My main problem with it is that the film just has too many filler scenes, and too much of the film concerns romantic subplots and love triangles, instead of actually progressing the story. Even the opening scene is Dumbledore cockblocking Harry from having sex with some hot black chick. However, Jim Broadbent as Horace Slughorn steals the show for me. He gives such a sincere performance, and is probably the most likable character in the entire series. But at the same time, he's human and vulnerable. Jim Broadbent puts his heart and soul into his performance, and I just love his portrayal. I just wish he was in the film more. I heard that he has some kind of role in Deathly Hallows Part 2, so I'm pumped for that. Alan Rickman as Snape and Michael Gambon as Dumbledore both deliver great performances here too. Even Malfoy, who I usually find kind of annoying, kind of impressed me in this film. Probably because his role was a lot more important this time, instead of just being a generic bully. The cinematography is probably at its best in this film, it looks great. Although the ending of this film also felt kind of abrupt and anticlimactic. A major character dies and they don't really do much with it, and then the film just ends really quickly. I heard that in the book there's a badass fight scene at the very end that was cut out, which would have been kinda cool to see. Overall, I did like the film a lot more once I rewatched it, but the acting and cinematography are outstanding, but it does kinda drag and lacks an emotional ending. And lastly, we have Deathly Hallows Part 1. I actually made a review of this film like last year, which you can check out, although it's not one of my better ones. The video quality is pretty bad and I actually used my camera phone for it, so yeah, it's not one of my better ones. There was a wizard and he made a magic spell and then, Okay, the plot of this film follows the main trio hiding out from Voldemort and searching to destroy all of his Horcruxes. After rewatching this film, I do still agree with most of the points that I raised in my review. I still thoroughly enjoyed this film despite the fact that it's just a setup and just an epilogue for the likely extremely action-based sequel, Deathly Hallows Part 2. The acting of the main trio of Harry, Ron and Hermione is at its best. It's also filmed and directed brilliantly, and kind of feels like an art house kind of drama at times. Despite the kind of weird shaky cam sequence that was directed kind of poorly at the end, the film does effectively build tension and at the same time has some funny moments of humor. And that animated sequence, The Tale of the Three Brothers, just blows my mind every time I watch it. It's so beautiful, well animated and original that it's probably my favorite ever scene in the Harry Potter series. The film does kind of drag, however, in those camping sequences in the forest, and it could have used some more of the supporting cast, although I'm sure a lot of my favorite characters will be in Deathly Hallows Part 2. But these are just small nitpicks, and I did thoroughly enjoy this film, and it would probably be even better if you watch it back to back with Part 2. So those are my thoughts on every single Harry Potter film except Deathly Hallows Part 2, which I'll be seeing within the next few days, and I'll try and post a review of that sometime soon. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing it. And I had a lot of fun rewatching all of these Harry Potter films and kind of reliving my childhood, and it was pretty cool seeing all the child actors slowly grow up and become more mature while the tone of the films progressively got darker and darker. If I had to rank the films so far in order of least favorite to favorite, it would probably go Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Half-Blood Prince, Order of the Phoenix, Goblet of Fire, Deathly Hallows Part 1, and Prisoner of Azkaban. I like all of the films in a certain way, and I'm sure that Deathly Hallows Part 2 will make my top 3. So those are my thoughts on the 7.5 Harry Potter films, and I hope you enjoyed my thoughts, and thanks for watching.